If you want to be good at something, you have to be willing to be bad at it first. Fear of failure runs rampant and is part of the human condition, unfortunately, right? It's one of those things that can stop us from even attempting to pursue a goal. And it's crazy because it's that fear of failure that can stop us from even attempting to try, which means we accept failure before we even have to, before it's forced upon us, right? And so we have to understand that if there's something you want in life, whether it's to learn a new skill, invest time in your education, sobriety, you have to be willing to be bad at it first, which means you have to be willing to be the least knowledgeable in it. You have to be willing to fail. You have to understand that that is part of the process, right? Now, it's not to say that relapsing is part of the process. There are some people, unlike myself, who have never relapsed. And the first day they decided to stop drinking, they went cold turkey and they haven't had a sip since. And that's fantastic, right? But even in that journey, there can be small failures, whether it's, going through the dry drunk phase, because just because you stop drinking doesn't mean you don't exhibit drunken tendencies, right? Especially in the beginning. When you're trying to figure out everything, when you're sober, but you're not necessarily recovered, right? You haven't really done the work to really deal with what brought you to drink, what brought you to your addictions, right? So these things are the things that can make it hard on you at first in sobriety. It can make you quote unquote bad at it, right? Where the cravings, you really don't know what to do, but you're barely hanging on, right? Or if like me, I fail and you relapse. But as we say, you keep coming back. Understand that being bad at something is a part of the process. You're not going to go from being an amateur to a pro, or nobody who's ever done it to being a pro. So don't be so hard on yourself. Don't allow the fear of failure to stop your attempt, to stop your try, and understand that with repetition, you get better. It took me a few tries of sobriety to get my current streak, which will have me at 11 years in a couple of weeks here. And, I'm happy, but I still got to go another day, right? I still got another 24 hours that I got to get through. But now, as opposed to when I first started and I relapsed a couple of times after a couple of weeks, a month here, I've learned things from being bad at it, right? And now I'm better at it. I'm not going to say perfect, but I'm better at it. I'm able to sustain my sobriety with less stress. It's not as hard as it was day one, day two, month one, year two, right? And so you have to understand that being bad at it, it's okay. In my classroom, when I'm teaching my students, I teach speech. I teach public speaking, and I tell my kids, this classroom is our lab where we get to fail, in great fashion. You're allowed to fail here. This is where I want you to fail, in the confines of this room where we are supportive group, right? Nobody's allowed to talk bad on another person. No student's allowed to do that. I'm the only one that gives, the constructive criticism when these beginners are first speaking. I let the audience, the other students, say some positives, and then I'll give the criticism. Right. So that they understand that one, being bad is part of the process, but through that you get the gems, which is the information you need in order to become better. Not just the praise that you may want that feels good to you, but also the information and that room for improvement that's going to make you better. Because like I tell my students, that's what you're here for. You're not here to be praised all day. You can get that. That's easy. But if that's all you're getting, you're not getting your money's worth from this education. That's what I tell them. And so if you're not making the best out of being bad in the beginning, you're not going to ever be great. So go ahead, allow yourself to fail in spectacular fashion. Be bad in the beginning, but get started. All right. Get started. If sobriety is what you want, if you're sober curious and you think that you may fail after one day, don't let that stop you from trying. Don't let that stop you from being bad at it. All right. Especially if you're attempting to be sober. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to have the will to do it. All right. So I want to wish the best for you. understand, go on out there and be bad at something. Think of something that you wanted in life that maybe fear has stopped you, or the fear of failure, fear of not being that good or looking bad in front of other people. Any of those things, if there's something if that's stopping you from pursuing your goal, I want you to consider to make a change, to take that opportunity to go ahead and be bad until you get better. All right. So I hope that pours into you. I hope it gives you something that, inspires you to think about a goal that you may have wanted for a while that you can start pursuing, taking little baby steps, and allow yourself the latitude to fail. All right. Because that is a part of the process. So I hope the best for you. I hope this pours into you. And until next time, peace.